mention Dr. Bobby Price tonight. He is an African American former pharmacist and FDA worker turned holistic, I don't know.
Educator.
Yeah, holistic educator, right? So that's his background. I think he's about 35 years old. He's not very old. He is, yes, he's very easy on the eyes. Man, I hope I ain't lose it. He's very easy on the eyes. And
with fruit, it doesn't have a label, but it has a feel.
It went right to it.
It tells you.
Okay. Yes, he is African American. I said. So, how many of us do feel like we want to hear health information from people that look like us? Is that a thing for you all?
Yes.
Or is it just me? Like, I mean, I know that there are a lot of smart people in the world. I understand that. But I also know that a lot of smart people can be a little dumb too, right? Like if they don't take things like, genetic makeup in mind, right? They don't take family history in mind, So I do think that it matters for us, especially as women, right? As women, black women, healthcare often overlooks us or kind of misdiagnoses us, all kind of things they do when it comes to black women. So I think that it is healthy sometimes for your psyche to see yourself in the person that's giving you information, especially when it's about health, right? So I fell in love with Dr. Bobby Price when my mom had her, I don't know what you call it, she had some mental medical issues related to blood pressure, and it scared the shit out of me and sent me into overdrive when it comes to what I put in my body. And his book was the thing that really inspired my whole transition to a plant-based lifestyle. And this is his book. I don't get promoted for that, so I'm just talking. Don't even think I got no spiel, because I don't.
It's a good book.
Huh?
It's a good book.
I don't. But it's an easy read too. Like he talks to us like we are, like he talks to us like he would talk to anybody. It's very, very real, okay? So, and most of it is about the things we eat, how unhealthy they are for us, why plants and fruits make sense, whole grains, legumes, all those things, why they make sense. So this is a very good read. Educational medication, and you can get it on Amazon or at his website. So I'm gonna play this little short, and it's real short. I'm just gonna
Do if it's a 3 or 4. With fruit, it doesn't have a label, but it has a feel. That's an identifier. It tells you if it's a 3 or 4. It is most likely grown conventional, which means that it's probably been sprayed and possibly genetic modified. If it's 6, it could be either one.
Halfway organic, halfway not.
And then if it's 9, it means it's organic. With fruit, it doesn't have.
Okay, so this is something that I didn't know, so I'm glad to share it. I see the little PLU numbers on stuff, but I didn't know what they meant. We look for organic or not organic, and we keep it moving, right? So basically, Tiff and I we watched this earlier, and I was like, oh, this is one I haven't seen and something I did not know. So the lower the number, the higher the rate of pesticides or whatever. So if it's organically grown, then they're going to be using organic fertilizer, okay? Which is going to be better for you, better for your health. Not just your immediate health, but your long-term health, right? So long-term, what we think in carcinogens and cancers, issues with your liver, because it has to process those chemicals and try to clean them out, filter them out of your body, or is it, gonna immediately just make me sick? Because I didn't know that a lot of people have gut issues because of pesticides in food. I did not know that until, reading his book and listening to his information. So people that are like, oh, I need to get a good probiotic. So they might be focusing on a probiotic to help their gut health, but if they're constantly doing like maybe not washing their fruits and veggies off enough, or not buying organic, that could be contributing to that unbalance of their gut health, right? All right, so we've done our icebreaker. So I've been reading a lot of books lately. I read that. I read this little smelly book that I ordered from some used bookstore. I'm gonna let everybody smell it because it's smelly.
Oh,
I mean, like smelling in paper. It smells like yeah, it smells like an old book.
Yeah.
It literally smells and it looks old. You right, Fred. But it is called Fit for Life, and it's old. They got the 1980 hairdos on the cover, so we know it's old. But it's a white couple that had been traveling around the United States back in the 80s, trying, because you know they didn't have no internet, they couldn't blog it or whatever. But they did, I think, get out some VHS tapes, whoever they went. But they basically were telling people they were actually petitioning for what do you call it? The government, the lobbyists, not to be able to like take kickbacks or get any benefits for, you know, whatever they lobby for, because they saw that it would have a really direct impact on the food and drug industry, that it would have the biggest impact. And here we are in 2023, and where do you think the biggest impact to them having no limits on how people lobby for different things? They literally, they can feed us anything they want in this country if they have enough money to lobby for it, period. It does not matter how many ladies gonna get lumps in their breast. It don't matter how many men's scrotal sac gonna blow up the size of a grapefruit for prostate. It does not matter to the United States government. If they have the money to lobby for it, they will get it passed. Okay? So a lot of what they talked about was fruits and vegetables, but then they also talked a lot about how the United States government was headed towards a bad place if we didn't, you know, do something about that, which I found that ironic because I was like, yeah, are y'all alive? Because here we are. Here we are. All right, if you look at your handouts, everyone should have gotten 2 handouts. This one here is just simply a little map about how to focus on a healthier life. If you look at the mind map, it has different categories. The main one, and the one that I think is going to be most important, and I'll tell you why in a little bit, is diet. Okay, that's number 1. And then you can see the little supplemental things that fall under diet. Then number 2 is exercise. Okay, 3 is socialize, and then 4 is sleep. Very, very important. Does everybody understand like why all of those things are like main categories? Yeah? Okay. So knowing that, we're gonna look up at our Shoptalk little layout, and what I did was kind of I tried to take what was on here, these 4, make sure that I had them on here, but also kind of add some more, if that makes sense. Anyway, we're going to start with diet. We're going to start with diet. It does not matter where you go with your diet if you are not feeding the things in your body that need what they need. Like if they say the kidney needs more iron than any organ in the body, if you're not consuming enough iron, then that means that area of the body is deficient, right? Usually when we have our deficiencies, vitamin C, vitamin D, iron, magnesium, they usually they go throughout the whole body, but there's usually something in the body that needs that one specifically, right? Like our bones, what our bones need? Calcium. Bones specifically need calcium. Yes, other areas of the body might use calcium too, but the bones is like, bitch, most of this calcium belongs to me, right? So if your body is consuming, you're not giving your body enough of that calcium, your bones are probably trying to absorb so much of it. If the kidney needs some of it, or the teeth, which I think our teeth and our bones need the same thing. If your teeth, the teeth might have to wait, right? Because the bones are trying, because using those bones and stuff every day. We've got ligaments attached to them. We've got, muscle attached to them. So they're working hard. So they need everything, right? So when you're talking about your diet, getting everything in that you need, I just put some little subtopics up there. Plant-based versus vegan. I would really like to clarify that. I am not vegan. I am not vegan. If you know anybody that is a true vegan, you know that their lifestyle is way strict, right? They ain't got no leather shoes. They don't do honey. They won't, they have a very, very strict lifestyle. And I'm not fanatical about anything. Like, I will dibble and dabble in a lot of stuff, but I can't get fanatical about anything. And not that veganism is fanatical, but it is way too much for me.
Yeah.
It is hardcore.
They don't eat anything with the face.
It is. It is hardcore. They won't wear anything that had a face either.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what happened to them little leather shoes you had? You just got rid of them? Yes. But so plant-based is more of a whole fruit diet. Okay, fruits and vegetables in as most of organic form as you can get them. I started. Did everybody enjoy the refreshments? Okay, so everything was made very, very fresh for y'all. Like I literally think I'm gonna have a vegan food truck one day. I'm gonna say that right now.
I know, right?
I'm gonna have a vegan food truck or plant-based or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I might name it. Call it what you want because I
Just
really
know we
don't
gonna
care.
eat healthy.
Right? Call it what you want because I really don't care. But everything was, I will say, plant-based. Nothing had, even the butter that I used in the nut boil was, even the butter that I used in that was plant-based butter. Everything was made fresh too. So eating that way, what do you think the number one hassle with eating a plant-based diet would be? What would it be for you? I'm gonna go around.
I'm cooking every day.
Cooking it. I will say that is the number one thing. Preparing food daily or every couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is you have to commit to it, right? But when you think about it, it really is you committing to yourself, right? How many other things are you fanatical about? You're going to get that hair done every 2 weeks and you're going to make sure on payday, I'm going to get my nails done. That's my, you know what I mean? That is kind of more superficial and surface. Yes, it adds to some of our other things, like mental health. It does feel good. It does good to feel good about yourself. But also, I'm just saying, what you're putting in your body should be your number one priority. You know what I mean? And if we weren't Americans, right, and this country was ran slightly different, and we learned to be moderate about a lot of stuff, then we probably wouldn't even be here having this kind of talk. Because back in the day, I know people that drank like fish. I know people that ate a lot of food, but I just feel like because of what's in the food and how things are made now, we can't operate at the same rate that somebody did 30, 40, 50 years ago. Because everything is different. Everything is different. The way they process everything is so different. So I threw dairy up there for those that think, I might start eating a little plant-based more often, you know what I mean? Dairy is also an extremely bad thing for us. I don't know the exact name of what it does, of the chemical that it causes us to have. There's a chemical reaction, but I will tell you that chemical reaction is similar to a heroin or a cocaine addict. It is highly addictive. Cheese and sugar are just as addictive as any other drug. That's why you might look at me and be like, I can't live without my cheese. I know you can't, boo, because you need rehab. I know you can't live without your cheese because you're addicted to it. Hell, me too. I was. I truly was addicted to it. Sugar is highly addictive. They are literally comparing sugar. Not only is it bad for you in a long-term way, but the short-term is what? What's the short-term effects of sugar? Weight gain, fat. Quickly. Sugar.
You be like, what happened?
Come on, Ash. Yes. So sugar short-term effects is weight gain, and I mean quickly. Sugar's long-term effects. What do you think sugar's long-term effects are in addition to weight gain? Weight stay on. Diabetes.
Yeah, definitely
Yes, diabetes. Also, sugar, glucose, is what feeds cancer. Cancer eats sugar, period. All of the studies and research that they've done, if they remove sugar from the person's diet, they have like a 70 to an 80% chance of beating cancer. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna take a 80% every day. I'll take a 80% every day. Okay?
Yeah.
So you said that's true?
It is true because like I'm a survivor. So if they think that we have cancer in our body and we go and have a PET scan, guess what they put in our veins? Sugar.
A glucose
because
solution.
sugar reacts to the cancer and it lights up on the test.
Right.
And that's how they find out if your cancer is spread by basically giving you sugar water.
So
to
just
see.
think about that.
Yeah.
Sugar, short-term weight gain, long-term diabetes, as well as potential risk to exacerbate the chances of you getting cancer, right? Because they have done research that says that technically genetics loads the gun. So if you got an aunt, a cousin that had breast cancer, then you kind of might have your likeliness to have it increase, right? Genetically.
No.
No, it's got to be.
You can have, like for me, I have a family history of breast cancer on my mom's side of the family. But when they tested my genes, I don't have a mutated gene for breast cancer. But if I did, they would test my daughter to see if she has the gene, because more than likely if she has the gene too, there's a 50-50 chance that she's going to get cancer too. Now I do have a mutated gene for colon cancer because I've had all my genes tested for cancer. So I do have a 50-50 chance of getting colon cancer, but the gene that is mutated in me is so rare that only less than 1% of people in the whole entire world has this mutated gene, and I happen to have it. And most of them are Asian. Yes.
And what are the percentages of the people that have the gene that actually get colon cancer?
It's just a 50-50. What they do is like, since I'm already 52, it put me at a higher risk. So I went in and I had a colonoscopy done. No polyps.
Okay.
But they told me I don't have to come back for 10 years, but since I have this mutated gene, I still have to go for preventative every 2 years, because we don't want you to get a polyp and you end up with cancer when we can prevent it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so genetically.
Well, so genetically, the saying is that your genetics load the gun,
Yep.
and your lifestyle pulls the trigger. That's what the saying is. All right. So dairy, sugar, highly addictive. Processed foods. I put that one last, processed foods, because when I first went plant-based and stopped eating meat and so on, I didn't stop eating processed foods. I kept eating processed foods. Why do you think I put processed foods on there? What's bad about processed foods?
You don't know what's in it yet.
You don't know what's in it, chemical-wise or otherwise. It's bad for you. One of the main things is our body does not recognize processed food as a food source. Our body knows that an apple is an apple. It knows that a pear is a pear. It knows that a collard green is a collard green. Honestly, it might even know that a meat is a meat, right? Because meats are very high in protein, so on and so on. Once they have processed those foods, your body does not know how to identify corn pulp. Like if it says it's got corn pulp. It knows how to identify corn, but it may not know what corn pulp is because of how corn pulp has been processed. Also, it's going to have other stuff in it. It's going to have chemical agents in it, things that are not organic, things that did not derive from real whole foods. Okay? So if I take a whole bunch of whole foods, fruits and vegetables and put them all in a pot and mash it all together, I have done a process to it, right? I have put it in the pot, mashed it all together, and turned it on and I'm heating it. My body is still gonna be able to identify each of those foods and place those nutrients wherever those nutrients need to go. Now the nutrients might be less because of however I cook it, you know what I mean? But it still is gonna be able to identify those things. All right, activity. Number 2 on our handout is exercise, and I put activity. Anybody have any thoughts about activity? All I could think of is work and exercise. Are there any other activities?
Just moving around.
Yeah.
I have a desk job, so I have to be intentional about getting up and walking around
Movement.
ever so often.
So
And
intentional
even
movement.
if you don't want to, like, I mean, it was hot this summer. I know, because I didn't walk. But you can be intentional and just turn on some music and dance in the house. And you still gonna get your cardio going and your heart pumping
Your heart
because
is
you're just,
gonna
you know,
pump.
doing stuff.
Very, very
Yeah.
good point. So activity just means to move. It
Mhm.
just means to move, and maybe I think I'm gonna steal that, to be intentional about that movement,
Yeah.
right? To be intentional.
My
right?
watch reminds
Walk
me
around
because
the
I
room.
sit at home.
You know what?
And
I
then
watch
it'll
you
say,
time to
it'll
move.
say time to move. And then if I get up and walk in my room and come back, they be like, great job.
Okay, so those little things that
Yeah,
we don't
watch
even
is
think
good.
about. That
If
they
you sit
built
down
in.
too long, it's like, you need to move.
Right, time to move. So working, if you sit and stand, if you sit or stand, I believe that you're gonna have a different movement. You know what I mean? If you just sit, your movement and energy level probably is very different than someone that stands or they're back and forth between this table and that table or whatever, however you work. So if you work and you sit down, you really want to be intentional about movement. What about exercise? What are our thoughts about exercise? Does exercise mean that we gotta be 2 hours a day in the gym? We gotta
The
run
Heart
5
Association
miles?
say 30 minutes a day.
30
gives
minutes
you
a day of
healthy heart.
consistent.
Of consistent.
Yes. I think the consistency is a big part of where we.
It's trying to fit it in
Does
in your
anybody
daily
else struggle with
schedule.
exercise? Yeah. I don't even exercise the way I used to.
I'm getting better.
I don't. You added it into your lifestyle.
Everything was better when I walked every day, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday
That's
off.
a big
I
commitment,
slept
though.
better and I did it.
That's
And
a
you
big
have more
energy too.
And I just had more
Like, more
energy.
energy.
I felt better. I slept better. I was balanced. And then it got hot because of the summer. Because I don't like going to the gym. I like to go to the park and walk because I like to see people
I like to be
and,
outside.
and ducks and all of that. I enjoy it. But it was just too
And
hot.
I ain't gonna lie, I tried the gym recently and I got sick 2 times in that little 30-day period. I was
Right.
like, I'm out of here.
I
It's
like
just
being
too many.
outside.
And Tiffany complained that then nobody don't be liking to wipe nothing down, and
Mm-hmm.
so I be trying to remember to wipe every inch of it down because you don't know where they touch. But yeah, so exercise can vary. Cardio, it could be weights, it could be strength training, it could be dancing, it could be yoga. So now yoga is a good one because it's not just good for the physical, but it's also good for the what?
So
For the mental.
keep you balanced.
Yes, it's good for the mental, and it increases strength too. Them little yoga people be strong.
They
as
really
hell.
do in their core.
They be strong.
Yes, they
Yes,
do.
they do. All right, so we talked a little bit already about genetics. What I want to talk about with genetics though are the different areas that our genetics can kind of play a role. As Stephanie said, she did a whole. Is that something you have to request from your physician or something?
They only did it because, of course, I had breast cancer, and then my BRCA test was negative. But then when I went for my yearly, they were like, we have different markers now for breast cancer. They said, well, let's just do a whole panel on you.
Okay.
And
So
that's
the
how
whole
I found
panel-
out. The whole panel was all the markers that they had for cancer on genetics. So 2 of them came back mutated, but one of them, they didn't know the significance that it had on cancer yet.
Okay.
It
Study
wasn't-
ain't old enough
It's
yet.
study ain't old enough, but the
Okay.
one was mutated, like for the Asians.
Well,
and
for
I-
under cancer, I would say maybe some of us should ask our physician, maybe can I get a cancer
Especially if
screening?
you have a history of it, and that's why I'm so big on trying to help people. If you know, I feel as Black people, If your grandma died of breast cancer and then your mom and all of her sisters or something happened, but all the family tells you is, oh, grandma was sick. Well, I need to know what grandma was sick of because it could save my
Correct.
life or my daughter's life or
Correct.
her daughter's life.